Travel at low cost with points and miles. Credit card rewards bring the smiles. Many adventures, tales to be told. Make and save money, the world will unfold. Fight the war on happiness, pick up the gold. Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast breaks the mold.
You're listening to the Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Vacula, here to help you make money, save money, and travel the world at next to no cost with credit card points, miles, benefits, and loyalty programs. Beth joins me today to chat about whether to keep or downgrade the Chase Sapphire Reserve credit card in 2026. With the annual fee increasing, are the new and existing benefits worth paying for, especially after using bigger credits at the end of 2025 and the beginning of 2026? As usual, we have a fun America Loves Math moment, this time surrounding the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Visit meetup.com/Philly, miles and points, to RSVP for monthly Greater Philadelphia travel, credit miles and points meetups I host in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. The next meetups are November 23rd and December 21st, 2025. Find a link in the show notes. For more content between episodes, follow Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on Facebook and X. Follow Justin Vacula on Instagram. Subscribe to Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on YouTube for daily content, including travel videos, podcast clips, and posts. For more information, including select episode transcripts, go to hurdygurdytravel.com. On with today's episode, recorded November 12th, 2025. Welcome back to the podcast. Now your third appearance, Beth.
Thanks for having me again.
You were on before chatting about your player 5 and 6 situation, maybe more players since then, and Instacart and DoorDash we chatted about. So today it's going to be the Chase Sapphire Reserve.
Sounds great. Let's go for it.
So what are you thinking preliminary before we discuss this here? We've definitely discussed this a lot off the air. Keeping it, downgrading it. What's the current thought before we talk about the specifics?
So my instinct is to say downgrade. And as hard as that is for me to say, because I have loved my Chase Sapphire Reserve, I think this is the moment where my love is slipping away. And I'm going to say, in most instances, most people should consider downgrading.
And we will talk about that. Perhaps the angel's advocate, the devil's advocate, the blue bank chase advocate, all the advocations and admonishments.
Sounds great.
The current annual fee is $795, up from what I believe was the old $550. I was definitely a buyer before. I've upgraded the Chase Sapphire Preferred to the Reserve, but now things have changed. The Chase Sapphire Reserve lost the 3X on all travel, or a very generous travel category, and the new benefits aren't so amazing in my eyes. We still have the $300 travel credit. I'd value that the same as cash, so the annual fee at that point is effectively $495. But we have to overcome that $495 to break even, and ideally we'd want better than that, especially when we can downgrade to the Chase Sapphire Preferred and only pay $95 and not have to deal with credits. So perhaps we're overcoming $400. We'd have to reach $400 or get higher than that to justify keeping the Chase Sapphire Reserve.
And that's generous of you to call them credits, because
Ooh.
they look more and more like coupons, right? Which nobody in our world really wants to have to bother with, so not too much.
Unless they're really good ones. We've certainly had a lot of good credits on other cards.
That's true. That's true. Just more and more the things they're adding to justify the increase in annual fee feels more and more like items that are hard to get, not readily available, not terribly useful for the average, I think, listener to this podcast. And in some cases, almost very strange or niche kinds of credits. And so when they're that niche and that hard to obtain, I'm going to call them coupons.
It's moved more from a travel card to a lifestyle card, I think, because they've had all these relationships.
Yeah, agreed. I definitely think losing the 3X travel and losing the 1.5 redemption on Chase Travel I think both of those moves suggest that it's not as much of a travel card as it is. Yeah, it's a flaunting card, right? Look at me, I'm the Chase Sapphire Reserve.
Lots of flaunting. Let's talk about some of these benefits or changes. There's a new 8X in the Chase Travel Portal and the Edit, which is their premium hotel collection. But personally, I'm not using the portal for cash rates, so that 8X doesn't do much for me. And the Edit hasn't been so great. I've looked in Vegas for dates that I wanted to go to Vegas, and I found $800 for 2 nights. Not terrible, but not great, considering some dining credits, so there are benefits that come with that, and the possibility of getting a rebate or refund on resort fees since I added my MGM rewards number to the reservation with my MGM Platinum status. Normally, when I book with MGM, I don't have to pay resort fees, but it charged me the resort fees here. So we get $250 twice a year with the Edit, and then after that, you're using points, perhaps at 2 cents per point, maybe, or paying out of pocket for the remainder. So personally, I don't value this new Edit credit that much, and I don't put much value in the 8X on the Chase Travel Portal and Edit.
Yeah, I agree with you on both those things. So the 8X Chase Travel Portal, for those of us who want to travel free or next to free, that does us no good. And then always booking through a portal anyway. It's a third-party booking, and so that opens you up to multitudes of issues, right, if travel doesn't go smoothly. Yeah, about the Edit, I've done some calculations myself. Part of the problem is you need to use it 2 nights, right, to get the Edit credit.
Yep.
So you need a 2-night stay as opposed to 1 night. And these are not cheap hotels, right? These are not your side of the highway Holiday Inns, far from it. There are very few hotels that qualify. They're very expensive. They're only in big cities, and you have to stay 2 nights. And so I found a few cities where you might make sense of using it. I was surprised to find Chicago actually had some less expensive options in the Edit collection, but you're still going to be paying out of pocket. And so you're right. And when I say out of pocket, I'm willing to pay a bit, right? If I get a nice hotel and I get the perks that come with the Edit booking or free breakfast, property or food and beverage credit, I'm okay with paying a little bit for those things, but I don't want to pay $400, $500, or in some cases maybe even $200 to $300 for that. So yeah, I've not been super impressed with the Edit, and some people who have done comparisons of the Edit prices with the booking directly prices have found that the Edit prices, so the same hotels on the Edit portal, right, are greatly inflated prices.
And we also have status with many other programs. We both have the Aspire card with American Express, so we have Hilton Diamond status. We can get benefits from that, like room upgrades, dining credits, and more. I have the Hyatt Globalist status, so I'm getting late checkout, room upgrades when available, and complimentary breakfast. So it's not that this Edit collection is so special. And we also have the Fine Hotels and Resorts credits with American
Right.
Express, and that's only a 1-night stay for $300 credit. And I booked for Fontainebleau in Las Vegas. It was $380 total, and that was for 1 night. I'm going to get $300 back, and that $80 out of pocket is not bad at all, considering the nice hotel, dining credits, and the complimentary breakfast.
Oh, agreed. The Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts collection, it's a much bigger collection as well. More options in mid-sized cities as well. So for example, we often stay in a mid-sized city in Michigan. It happens to be that the Canopy Hotel in that town qualifies. And it's a nice downtown hotel. We really enjoy it. It's not super expensive. Now, that is admittedly part of the hotel collection. And so you do have to stay 2 nights for that. But we end up paying usually very little out of pocket because it's a mid-sized city. It's not a luxury hotel. It's a very nice hotel, but not luxury. And so we'll pay a little bit out of pocket, but we do get then the $100 property credit, and that pays for the parking plus usually breakfast. And yeah, it feels like the Amex version it far outstrips the Edit one.
Okay, so if we have a $795 annual fee, some math here, we have the $300 travel credit. The effective annual fee is $495, and we'd both be buyers of the Chase Sapphire Preferred at $95. So we have to overcome $400 to at least break even on this. And I think with the Edit credit, many might put this at 0.
I'm afraid so, Justin. America loves math, and your math checks out there.
We'll keep the tracker going.
0.
We'll keep the tracker going for listeners. I'm writing it as we go along. No video presentation of a snazzy tracker, like if this were some sort of game show, but we'll keep it going anyway. We'll move on to the next one, 4x points on flights booked directly and hotels booked directly. Personally, I won't book much like this, but this can be nice for those with reimbursed travel, perhaps for business. And I also have other cards bonusing general travel. I now have the Altitude Connect for 4x, I believe, cashback now, RIP Altitude Reserve, and the Amtrak credit card for 2x. And those points can be worth 2 cents per point or more for about a 4% return there. So any great argument for keeping the card for purposes of 4x flights booked direct or hotels booked direct?
So I agree that it's better to book direct if possible, but if you're looking to travel for very little cost, then yeah, paying out of pocket makes no sense, even if you're getting those bonus categories. Yeah, I'm with you on this. It only makes sense if you're getting it reimbursed or if your hand is forced, right? And you simply have to pay for travel for some reason or another, then sure, it's not a bad option, but I don't value that very much, Justin.
Yep,
So
I'm not either. Now, it is a Visa Infinite credit card, so you do get trip protections. Any argument for keeping the Chase Sapphire Reserve because it's a Visa Infinite card?
So I will say for car rental purposes, it's hard to beat Chase Sapphire Reserve. I had one very good experience with it. So that made me loyal for quite a while, although my loyalty, as I said, is waning. That benefit is there, but you might have really good protections, travel protections for things like car rentals on other cards. And you might have other Visa Infinites. For me, I'll put a little value on that, but it's not going to be much more than maybe, let's give it $25 for starters. You can
25.
try to talk me up or down.
All right. And I do have the United Club card with Chase. That's also a Visa Infinite. And the Qatar card with Cardless, which is also a Visa Infinite. So I'm not going to put too much on those travel protections, but they are nice to have. But if I have the other cards, then perhaps I would do direct flight bookings. We'll move on to the next one, the Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables benefit. These are $250 dining credits. I found many of these in Las Vegas. I go to Vegas often, but I wouldn't value this at $150, maybe $30 or $40 because I otherwise wouldn't spend that much. I have to keep my frugal cred on the podcast, as there's a misconception that just because we have credit, we're going to spend more, but I'm still not spending $150 when I'm going out to eat. I'm rarely spending any money out to eat, but if I absolutely had to use like real world cash money, no benefits, no promos, nothing, I wouldn't be spending more than $30 or $40 out to eat. And in many cases, I'd only spend 15 to 20 and of course get ice water rather than spending money on drinks.
Yes, you're the model for frugality, Justin. So I have not tested this out yet because there are no exclusive table options where I live. And I haven't yet traveled since getting the credit. And I didn't get it till October 26th because I had the card before the changes. And so they didn't grandfather us in right away. We had to wait till October 26th. So I haven't been to a city yet where there are options. I do plan to travel in November, maybe early December, somewhere where there will be options. But I feel a little guilty about this. I'm making the trip to actually use those credits. And that makes me kind of question
Yep.
whether or not this is the right approach to this credit. Now, we'll take a little trip somewhere to a city, maybe a few hours away where we can drive, so it's not going to be that expensive. We'll use the Amex FHR, not the Edit collection from Chase. We'll get some good value out of this little trip if we take it. If we get to use this exclusive tables collection, yeah, I'm going to value it probably about the same as you, Justin, probably $30 to $40 because if somebody said to me, here, I have a gift card for this restaurant, a $150 gift card. How much will you give me for it? And I don't have a really clear plan to be at that restaurant in that city where it's located anytime soon. I would probably offer $30.
Yep. All right, I'll put it at 40. So our counter 400 minus 40 is 360. We'll move on next to DoorDash, $10 a month at convenience stores, $5 a month at restaurants on DoorDash. It's okay. I've been getting a flatbread at Subway. After the credit, I'm spending about $1.50, so that's good for on the go. And I can get grocery items at Wawa. We've talked about this before. But I also have many grocery rewards elsewhere. So we're getting, it looks like $180 in total credits. Not so bad if you were to value those at full cash, maybe you would value it, what, about 125, 150? What do you think?
You do get the $10 off per month times 2. You get it twice a month. So that increases the value slightly. So twice a month, I can use my Chase Sapphire Reserve to go to Wawa. That's what I usually do when I do pickup. You have to do pickup, otherwise you lose almost all the money. And I get grocery items that are overpriced, but they're free. So my habit is to get two cartons of eggs, and it's cost me a little over $1, way overpriced. I only pay a little over $1 for those 2 dozen eggs, and I do it twice a month. How am I going to value that? And the $5 a month at restaurants, I find that a bit frustrating. That's such a small amount. Right? At least Amex gives you $10 on Grubhub and $10 at Uber Eats for the golds, right? And then 15 on Uber Eats for the platinum. 15 means you can actually get a meal for free. $5 a month that's like a small side. Is it worth it?
What
Going
about
to
the
pick up
flatbread? Are you going to get that flatbread at Subway? I have one right across the street from where I am anyway. It's right across the street from Staples, and I'm there often.
Yeah, for me. And by the way, are you using your convenience store money for Subway?
No, convenience store at
The
Wawa, the
$5.
$5 at Subway.
Okay, the
Because
$5.
the
So how much?
$5, I look at Chinese restaurants in my area and it's $10 to $15. So I'm
Yeah.
not that excited about making a $10 or $15 purchase with only 5 off. So I've just been getting the flatbread.
I'll admit I did pick up at a restaurant a side of mac and cheese a few times. That was $7. Paid $2 after the convenience store.
$2 for mac and cheese.
Yeah,
Maybe you'd
it's
spend
very good.
maybe you'd spend $3 for chicken noodle soup. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. Chicken noodle soup. Absolutely, I would. Actually, you know what? Now that you say that, I've gone to the same restaurant. It's very close to my home, and they have. When I say mac and cheese, by the way, it is 4-cheese homemade mac and cheese.
Oh.
It's out of this world.
Oh,
and
then you know what?
It's terrible for you.
You really got to come to Borgata with me one of these times and go to the M4 Lounge, or that's a staple
Yeah.
at the M4 Lounge. Mac and cheese.
Yeah, I could get a mac and cheese side and a good bowl of chicken noodle soup, and I'd be all set for the night.
Yes. All roads lead to casinos.
Yeah. So I'm not near a casino. And so this little restaurant near me has this incredible mac and cheese, but they also have soup, and it's about $7. And so
Oh.
I've done that a few times, I admit. But again, think about, is it worth going even a mile, 2 miles round trip for a $2 small little side of soup? I don't know.
All right. So what are we putting on this? How much value?
I do the convenience store. It's 20 a month for that, but I'm not going to value it at that much. I would value that at about 10 a month, and I'm not going to give any value to the $5 a month at restaurants. So I'm going to give it 120
All
a
right,
year.
120. So our tracker was at 360. 360 minus 120. Was
Okay.
at home 240. Are we getting
Okay.
close? How about the $300 StubHub credit? So this is $150 twice a year. I'm going to see the Wizard, the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. That's actually me singing that time at Sphere in Las Vegas. So the ticket was $159. I'm paying $9 after the discount. But I wouldn't value this at $150. I wouldn't pay $150 or $159 to see the show. But I'd be a buyer at maybe $20 or $30. This will also be my first time at Sphere. And in the future, perhaps I'll use this for concerts. All the metal bands that may be in Philadelphia, New York, and other places. What value might you put on the StubHub credit?
This one's tough for me because I do once in a while go to a concert, but not super often. My kids actually occasionally will go to concerts. We live a few hours from New York City, so Broadway shows are a possibility, and once in a great while I'll do it. But it's hard for me to value this because if I wasn't likely to go, but I'm going just because the credit is there, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
So you have the FM Kirby Center in the Wilkes-Barre Scranton
Yes.
area and the Mohegan, Pennsylvania Arena, or whatever they're calling it, because that casino that's so poorly run keeps changing its name. It was Mohegan Sun at Pocono Downs, Mohegan Sun Pocono. What is it now? Maybe they changed it again. But
I have no idea.
Mohegan, Pennsylvania, I think was the last I saw.
Okay.
So what might you value this at? Would you go to the Kirby Center or the Broadway?
I would. Yeah, I've done both, but again, I very rarely. I'm not the kind of person that goes to just anything just because it happens to be a show and it's in my area. But I occasionally would use it. I actually might give it.
50? I hear 50?
Yeah, I was gonna say 50,
50.
but I was gonna say 50 times 2 because I think I
50
value
times
both.
2.
I would think I would value the 150 credit at 50 and then the second one also at 50.
Okay, so 240 we were at, 240 minus 100 for 140. We need to
Yep.
justify the annual fee. Next, we have Apple TV and Apple Music. I haven't used these things. I pay for YouTube Premium, and I'm very happy with that. Past podcast guest and frequent co-host Darren mentioned some things on Apple TV that he liked, but I haven't used it. I'm not a show or TV watcher really, so I'm putting this at 0. Are you putting it at more than 0?
Nope, I'm putting it at 0 too. I just, yep.
Not in
Uh,
that situation, man. Ted Lasso gets the thumbs down.
yeah, and I feel like I think that was the only show I've watched on Apple TV, and I think we signed up for a free few-week subscription and then canceled it, and during that time, we quickly watched as much as we wanted to, and that was it.
All right. And the StubHub thing, just to mention, past podcast guests Eric and Bill, who are probably listening now, they go to hockey games every year, and they were paying full price for the tickets. So maybe they'd get more value out of the StubHub credit. Maybe listeners will get different valuations. So I'm saying this is for me. This is what I
Sure.
think. So you'll have to do the math on your own. We'll move on to Lyft. $10 a month credit with Lyft. But I also have rideshare credits from many other cards, and I don't always use these every month. I'll try for a big trip every month, but I'm not always using the smaller credits. Maybe $60 in value for this 120 total.
Yeah, you know what? I give it 0. When you live in a smaller town like I do, we don't even have Lyft. And the times I travel, I've just never had an occasion. I take that back, maybe once or twice to use Lyft. But that's so rare, and the $10 is so little, and you can't accumulate it. It disappears at the end of the month. For me, I've never used it, and I don't see myself using it. So if you want to take $60 off the 140 we're at because you do use it, and I can imagine some do, that's fine, but I would value it at 0.
Okay, we're down to 80 remaining to break even. It's not looking good.
Yeah.
Next, we have the
Yep.
Peloton membership. I'm putting that
0.
at
0.
0. I got my Planet Fitness membership. I'll be good.
I can walk out my door and go for a run or a walk, and that's all free.
Well,
And
it is getting chilly outside.
yeah, running and walking outside, you warm up very quickly. So
Ooh.
it's a 0 to me.
And then you can
That's an easy one.
you can go to Panera and have some hot coffee with the sit phone.
Sure.
It was funny. Someone in our group chat that we have, they typoed it as the Panera Strip Club. So I generated an image of a woman on a pole inside of a bread bowl. So that was a favorite.
I hope she had a cup of coffee.
Yes, in a strategically placed location, of course.
Perfect.
And next we have the Chase Sapphire Lounge. Now, we're both often traveling out of Philadelphia, so it's quite a
Yes.
nice lounge. But we also have other options. The Delta Sky Club, if flying Delta, past podcast guest Justin Walter called it the Sky Closet, and rightly. We have the Centurion Lounge in Philadelphia, and if flying American, I can use the Admirals Club because I have status from that Qatar cardless card I mentioned. So what might you value the Chase Sapphire Lounge access at?
I think I would put a small value on it because I've been there twice, but my family members, some who have access through my Ritz card, Ritz-Carlton, has free authorized users. And so they get access into this lounge, have used it, probably a sum total for our family of 12 visits. Those with the Ritz-Carlton card, my kids would not have access to the Centurion Lounge or the others that you mentioned. So that they were able, when they flew home through Philadelphia, to use that lounge means I give it a little bit of value of their kids. They don't need expensive drinks and food. So, they could also pack their lunch and bring it to
Wait,
the
I thought
airport.
one of your kids had business platinum card at the age of 18, right?
Yeah, those I cancel once they come up unless there's a retention offer. So you're right. I think right now, so my P5 is not yet 21.
I
So I'm
love
holding
hearing
off
that. I
on
love hearing
business cards.
P5, and I'm sure many
Yeah.
listeners do too. What's the
Yeah,
highest number it goes up to?
I've got a P6,
Oh.
but yes, but she's not 18 yet, so that's coming. But so the oldest two, so there's my husband, but then there's P3 and P4. My oldest two children have had BizPlats, a few of them, but one right now has 0, and one does have 1. But I will be downgrading that card. I just paid the annual fee. Again, I was given a small retention offer. I paid the annual fee. and I will likely cancel next opportunity. I'll get the benefits next year, then I'll go down to the gold or the green.
Might the lounge be worth $80 a year?
No, I'm gonna say more
Oh,
like 30.
oh, so we're getting close. Now, I travel a lot more than you do, so I'd use the lounge more. But if I can use the other lounges instead and then not have to pay this annual fee and keep track of all these benefits and go through that, it's seeming pretty close. So we're still at that $80. And if I were to say the lounge is worth $80 a year for me, then we're only breaking even on the annual fee. And then that's not so interesting.
So what this says to me is that based on those credits, the math doesn't work out too well, but, and here's the big but for this, and I know you were going to come to this towards the end, so we don't have to deal with it now, but the cash out option to me is one that makes me pause when I think about getting rid of the card.
We'll get into that after the break, but of course the numbers don't lie, and they're seeming to spell disaster for the Chase Sapphire Reserve. But after the break, we're going to try to make an argument for keeping if it's close. Our first announcement, join me at Zorkfest 2025 in Las Vegas, December 5th through the 7th at M Resort Casino Hotel. Zorkfest combines miles, points, and gambling content all in one weekend. I'll be there speaking and connecting with podcast listeners. Buy your ticket at zorkfest.travelzork.com. Use the promo code Hurdy Gurdy to support the show. Beth, I've been trying to get you to Vegas for years, but I don't think you're going to be at this one in 2025. Probably less than a 1% chance of being there.
Less than 1% chance. I have a full-time job. That does mean I have limits to when I can travel.
Maybe 2026.
We'll see, but that, given the kind of job I have, that's not an ideal time for me to travel. So we'll see.
Okay. We have Chicago Seminars Hyatt Regency O'Hare that recently concluded just a few days ago. Stay tuned for announcements of dates and the hotel for 2026. I'm hoping it's in the same Hyatt, but that is subject to change. So stay tuned for announcements regarding that. But we do have something confirmed. The event, formerly known as Chicago Seminars Heritage Edition at Holiday Inn, was renamed as the Chicago Points Travel Festival and will take place October 16th through the 18th, 2026. Use the promo code HurdyGurdy and join the waitlist if you can, because the event is already sold out. Any chance for you being at either of the Chicago events in 2026?
Again, neither of them are timed for people in the education world. Not so likely.
That was a Darren laugh for you there. That seemed similar. And this episode is supported by CardPointers. If you have multiple credit cards like me, CardPointers helps you automatically activate bank offers, and it knows which card to use for maximum rewards. CardPointers saves me time and money. Use my link, cardpointers.com/hurdygurdytravel for a discount on annual and lifetime plans. And how about your relationship with CardPointers?
You talked me into it, and it's been great. I've really liked the way in which I get to link my Amex offers on multiple cards, especially the good ones. And recently, we've seen some from Home Depot and Best Buy that were really good Amex offers. And so being able to have them uploaded on all my Amex cards is a great savings for me.
Yes, so it's continuing to pay its value in that lifetime membership.
Absolutely.
And I also host monthly travel and points meetups in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. Next meetups are November 23rd and December 21st, 2025. If you're local or want to make the trip, it's a fun, casual way to talk point strategies, meet like-minded travelers, and share ideas. RSVP at meetup.com/Philly, miles and points. In addition to meetings, check for new social events, including opportunities to use Resi credits at the Thai restaurant Kalaya in Philadelphia. And I know, Beth, that you're a fan of Thai food.
Oh, I'm a huge fan. It doesn't get better.
But unfortunately, you're a bit far away from Kalaya and Willow Grove, but you have made the trip out to Philadelphia in the past.
Yes, I have, and I hope to come again.
All right, excellent. Finally, I'll be speaking with Frequent Traveler University in Irving, Texas, just outside of Dallas, May 1st through the 3rd, 2026, at the Nilo Las Colinas Hotel by Hilton. Join me and community members for social events and educational sessions. Ticket sales are live, $200 for FTU members and $249 for non-members. You can grab an FTU annual membership for online courses, seminars, member perks, event discounts, and more. The sign-up link for membership and FTU Dallas is in the show notes. So you've done some of the online FTU events or in-person in the past, or maybe other in-person events?
Yep, just online. I've never been in person, but there's always next time. So we'll see.
She's never been in person. She's only in the club.
Yes.
All right, we'll return to the discussion about the Chase Sapphire Reserve with podcast guest Beth. There's one more consideration for the Chase Sapphire Reserve. You can spend $75,000 on the card in a calendar year for getting higher status with IHG, a $250 credit for shops at Chase, a $500 Southwest travel credit, and A-list status with Southwest. As much as I like high spend goals, I don't see spending $75,000 on this card at mostly 1x. But if it still had 3x travel or other interesting categories, I would. But would you put any value on this $75K spend goal?
Zero value.
Zero.
Definitely. Yep, that's the kind of high spend goal that just to me makes no sense. Why, if you have that spend, why not put it on new sign up bonuses? Put it on cards where you're getting bonus like points. It just doesn't make sense to me. The perks don't match up to that amount of spend.
Yes, and with my very heavy spend, it's not so appealing doing it at 1x when I can use a lot of other cards. So I'm not putting much value on that 75K spend goal either, unless circumstances change and we're able to spend creatively in those categories. And something has changed a little bit with Rove. We've had Carissa Rawson on the show before talking about booking through the Rove portal, and you're going to get those bonuses. So it's something, but I don't think I'm going to do 75,000 worth of booking with Rove.
Yeah, not a chance for me either. So I just can't value that right now. Those different high tier spends.
Yeah, I do it on the American
Benefits.
Express Surpass card to get 6x grocery and a free night certificate. I think that's a really appealing one. Of course,
Sure.
I put tons of spend on MGM credit cards, and I'm putting a lot of spend on grocery bonusing cards, but not at 1x. I'm looking for better than 1x.
Absolutely. Give it a big zero for those.
Big zero. Big zero. And at least with the MGM spend, we get status out of it. But with these credits, $500 Southwest, maybe close to same as cash, or 450-ish. But yes, I think that most listeners aren't going to put that 75K on this card. So we're at even if we valued that lounge membership at $80 a year,
Right.
or perhaps even on the annual fee. But what about the strategic decision of, we're recording November 12th, 2025. If we use the larger benefits at the end of 2025, then in the beginning of 2026, we use the benefits and then downgrade the card to the Chase Sapphire Preferred.
So right now, that's what I'm planning to do. I had a annual fee just hit November 1, which just after the October 26th date where the annual fees went up. So mine hit up with that very high annual fee. I called in for a retention offer. I got nothing with that. I think I'll pay the fee for now, but come say mid-January, once I've used up various credits, and I probably won't use them all, but I'll use some of them, including like the StubHub credits. I'll use the DoorDash credits for that month, a few other items, and then I think it's going to be a downgrade for me.
Yes, if we use the benefits in January, there's a lot of dead time with this card, I think, where what would be half the year of not using the card really, or just breaking
Right.
even on these benefits. So I think that's super appealing. And there are also some rumors floating around that there might be upgrade options, that for holders of the Chase Sapphire Preferred, there might be options or offers to say, hey, upgrade your card and get bonus ultimate rewards for doing so. So maybe that could be a consideration too.
And even if there are not upgrade points given for upgrading, it might be worth it to upgrade, say, at a strategic time in the second half of the year, maybe right before you're heading out on a trip and you want the protections for your car rental and you want to use the lounges and you want to book maybe one more StubHub credit, you use up one more StubHub credits. We could strategically upgrade, downgrade in order to make use of the credits without paying the full annual fee.
There's something to be said about keeping life a little simpler, which is funny because I'm advocating for signing up for a lot of credit cards. a lot of programs using these benefits, but downgrading can make life a little bit simpler, especially if the decision was close. If the decision is close, then maybe go with the simpler alternative with the Chase Sapphire Preferred rather than keeping track of the benefits. And again, I'm happy to keep track of benefits and use benefits when it really makes sense. But if it's a very close decision here, then it might be that downgrade.
Yeah, I agree. I think if it's close, I'm going to downgrade. And I think I'll feel a bit relieved, especially about credits like the Edit Collection, which had me going down a rabbit hole, trying to find a hotel where I didn't have to pay so much out of pocket in a place where I wanted to go. And at some point, an hour or two later, I stopped and I thought, why am I planning a trip around the Edit credit? That doesn't make any sense.
You could use the Edit
So,
credit and walk over to the exclusive tables and hop on the Peloton and
yeah.
listen to Apple TV.
Yeah, that's not how I usually plan my vacation. So,
Yes, I'm
um,
joking there. Now we
right.
have some listener comments and questions. If you're a subscriber on my Subscribe Star page, simply search Hurdy Gurdy Travel. I send out advance notice of episodes and guest questions, although this one was a little bit more spontaneous. But we did hear from podcast listener Eric, who writes, "My concern, I don't even know how to question it, but as someone who doesn't do as much travel and liked the 1.25% cash out option, losing that option is going to leave me with some decision making."
Oh, I hear you, Eric. I hear you. That's to me one of the biggest concerns about downgrading because I use my points for both. I use points for travel, but I also use them to cash out. And so I like that I can have a mix of those options. And I would hate to lose out entirely on the option to cash out. So my plan, right, is to strategically cash out a fair number of points. And don't forget with Chase, if you cancel a card, you lose all the points that are attached to that card. So you have to really be careful that you move them to a different card first. But if you downgrade, you keep them. But even I do plan to probably pay myself back on lots of grocery spend, even high grocery spend that I will manufacture. And then when my point total is low, I'll downgrade and then start accumulating points again, ideally. And then when I upgrade again, I can cash out again at 1.25.
Yes, that's another, it depends. Your mileage may vary. The more travel you do, perhaps you're going to transfer the points to Hyatt, other transfer partners. But for those that aren't traveling as much, then that pay yourself back is more appealing. And how about the annual fee? Are you able to pay yourself back on the annual fee? Is it still the 1.25? It used to be the 1.5, I think.
Yeah, it was 1.5 even after all the other pay yourself options went down to 1.25, but now the annual fee payback is also 1.25. So not great. It's certainly worth considering as an option to use up those points to get a little cash back in your pocket.
We have another question or comment from Michael Traeger, past podcast guest and subscriber. Traeger writes, "I would be curious about your suggestion of what they should downgrade to, keeping in mind if what they downgrade to might have been a card they should apply for to get a bonus, if they are still eligible to get more Chase cards and get the bonus on the new card."
So in the past, Chase was different about this than say Amex, right? But things seem to be a little bit in flux with Chase about whether or not you can apply for a card you've had in the past, about getting the same card, another card in the same family. So things could change quickly. But as of now, as I understand it, the rules are that you can only have one Chase Sapphire card. So people have found themselves shut out of the Chase Sapphire Reserve because they have or have had the preferred. I think downgrading to the preferred might not have an effect, right? But we don't know for sure. And some people, there are data points that differ a bit, but the standard data point, the one we've seen most consistently, is that right now there's a family rule, and it seems to be now shifting to lifetime. You can only have one Chase Sapphire card. But again, some people seem to have gotten by with more recently. I've gotten a second one recently, so we're not sure.
And at some point, I encourage people to give up on staying under 524. Maybe at the beginning, okay, you get your 5 or 6 Chase cards, maybe some more, but the opportunity cost gets quite high as you run out of other business cards to apply for. So I'm LOL 24. I don't see myself ever getting back under. And with the last cards I got with Chase, I got a total of about 7 or 8 cards. They gave me a lot of hard times getting approved. I had to reallocate. And then on the last card, they only opened it with 3K or 4K credit limit. So not much ability to spend on those. So I wouldn't be looking at canceling or churning these cards. I would just keep it rather than trying to wait 4 years to possibly get a sign-up bonus and then possibly get a pop-up that says I'm not eligible. That would be a mess.
So one interesting move with Chase is to consider opening up, if you're under 524, the Chase Aeroplan card, because you can move your Chase Ultimate Rewards points. You can move them, you can buy miles with them essentially, right? And with Aeroplan, and the Aeroplan miles you can use to pay yourself back for travel at 1.25%. And you also get a little bonus for over a certain percent. So you actually, if you want to be able to pay yourself back for travel, you can open a Chase Aeroplan card. You get it was 85K sign-up bonus, and now it's 75K, and then you get an additional, I believe, 25K with additional spend. But still, it's a pretty significant sign-up bonus for a $99 card. And you can, by the way, pay that annual fee back with your Aeroplan miles. But then you can shift Chase Ultimate Rewards points to your Aeroplan card and pay yourself back for travel. So it's a way in which the cards, even though co-branded cards, have sometimes an interesting relationship with the Chase Ultimate Rewards cards.
And options are good. As usual, the answer to everything is more credit cards. So I think it's looking like a business decision to use the bigger benefits in early January, if possible, 2026, downgrade to the Chase Sapphire Preferred. And then maybe in November, upgrading back to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, using the benefits November, December, then again in January, and then downgrading back in 2027?
Yep. That's a good strategy. As long as Chase allows it, I don't see any reason not to do it. And don't forget, you get that travel credit, the $300 travel credit
Ooh.
every card member year. That's something else to think about. And you can double dip that. I'm going to be canceling my card, but I'm going to use that $300 credit before I do, for sure. But I already used it, of course, from my last card member year. So that's a card member benefit, right? Not an annual or semi-annual benefit. So keep that in mind.
Maybe double dippable, although I've tried similar things with American Express, and then once you used a certain credit, you wouldn't be able to do it again if you were upgrading, downgrading, going back and forth. So it'll be interesting.
You have to wait. Yeah. If you wait for the year to come up, then you can. So I think it goes by the original opening date of the
okay. So maybe
this
single
card.
dipping then.
Right. Yeah, I guess you double dip the first year, then downgrade, right? And then you wait till the new year is about to start up again, the new card member year, open up the card again. As soon as that new card member year hits, you should get the $300 again.
All right. Possibility there. So I'm looking at the downgrade in January. Are you looking at the same?
I am. Absolutely.
Sorry, Chase. You have to add
Yep.
something or give us a retention offer. It's not looking so good anymore.
Yep. Hopefully they see this happening across lots of card holders and they wake up and make some good changes.
If you were to hang up and call again and get a rep offering a good retention offer, might 20,000 ultimate rewards keep you in, or what would that retention offer need to be?
Yeah, 20,000 would definitely keep me in. I think the 10,000 might keep me in. I can pay myself back at 1.25. So that's $125 back. That might do it. Less than that, if they offer like 5,000, I'm out. But I think I would consider a $10,000 point retention offer.
Maybe we call customer service and customer service would call customer service, creating a customer feedback loop, or the customer service Vinda loop.
Yes. You always have to be concerned when you call customer service, right? That they themselves aren't quite sure what they're talking about. And the people that they need to then confer with might end up, putting you into a Vinda loop.
Yes. A past podcast guest, Brooke from CardPointers, was joking about me making South Park references a lot. And I was vindicated at the last Chicago seminars because someone referenced the underpants gnomes at the speaker panel.
Yep, there's people are paying attention, Justin. That's good.
Nice. We have to figure out what the question is. It's like step 1, collect underpants. Step 2, question. Step 3, profit.
When we figure it out, we'll let our listeners know.
Yes, maybe using one of these benefits in a more creative way, or something we're missing about the card. But if we're missing something, if you think that keeping the Chase Sapphire Reserve is the play, then let us know in the comments on YouTube or contact in some other way.
Sounds good.
I'm sure we'll have you back on the podcast in the future.
I'd be happy to come back.
Yes, I ask, where can people find you online? But for you, it's nowhere.
Yes, that's the way I like it.
Ooh, unless 2026 changes things and you're on the new social network or something interesting happens, maybe that'll be a new benefit of the Chase Sapphire Reserve.
If you need to find me, just reach out to Justin. He knows where I am.
A phone call away.
Exactly.
Maybe in the country of Poland in 2026, or any other travels coming up for you?
Oh, yeah, lots of travel. I'll be in the Netherlands and Belgium and Germany. I will be actually I'll be in the Netherlands a second time. That's where my family's from. No Eastern Europe this coming summer, but we'll go to the West Coast to visit family. And then, yeah, who knows? I definitely have to think about our annual spring break trip. We haven't planned it yet, but probably somewhere warm.
Las Vegas, January, to use the Chase Sapphire Reserve credits?
Yeah, maybe Justin, maybe you'll get me there yet.
What if I met you in Vegas and shared some of the My Vegas rewards from the profits of the phone army?
I do travel a fair distance for free food, as I've indicated by my willingness to travel for my Chase exclusive tables credits that I'm thinking about doing. So,
How about Boston to ride the MBTA with past podcast guest Purple Princess Perry Kim from the Netflix show Love on the Spectrum? She's been sharing her tea ventures on Instagram.
I love Boston and I love trains. I would definitely be tempted by that.
Maybe using FHR credit at Encore Boston Harbor?
I'll have to look at the prices on that.
Definitely not on the weekends, that's for sure.
Yep.
Weekday stays with FHR seem to be the way to go.
There you go.
All right. Any other thoughts on the Chase Sapphire Reserve?
No, I've loved this card for a very long time, and I'm sorry with this most recent change that probably for the first time I'm going to have to say goodbye to my reserve.
What if we were able to use the Chase Sapphire Reserve to pay a 50-year mortgage? That's been the recent thing.
Oh, I'm not really in favor of 50-year mortgages.
All right. It's possibly going to be a built card in early 2026
Yeah.
with the new upcoming relationship between built and cardless. Any other cards in your future, 2026?
Oh, I'm definitely always looking. So, as you say, always have to be opening new cards. And yeah, I have to move past Chase because I'm over 524. So I might start looking at Wells Fargo, which is a bank that I've had no relationship with that has some cards that are interesting enough that I'll consider. Cardless is definitely something I'll look at. Few options there, and then yeah, we'll see from there.
What about the Amtrak credit card with the First National Bank of Omaha? It's November 12th, the recording, and there's also an increased sign-up bonus.
There is, and I have nearly pulled the trigger so many times on that card, but I don't want to get it until I know I have a use for it. I would love to take one of the sleeper cars out west. That's a goal of mine, but I have to find out when I can do that, when I have the opportunity. I'll open the card, I'll get those Amtrak points, and then I'll book the trip. But I don't have a plan yet in place, so I'm going to hold off till I do.
An opportunity. And the Verizon Visa card? There have been some recent Synchrony shutdowns, but I don't think you'll be shut down. So you're considering that Verizon Visa credit card?
Oh, I just got it, Justin, about
Oh.
2 weeks ago. So I've already put spend on it. I already got right now is a tiered bonus, sign-up bonus. So I already got the first $50, and I'm very close to getting the 150 after 2,000 spent. And I've been a Verizon customer for a long time, and I can't wait to start bringing my bill down. So with 6 of us, it's not a small one.
And the Verizon savings account with Open Bank I recently got approved for, saving $5 a month on your Verizon bill seems appealing.
Yes, that definitely is going to happen. That's on my list right now.
And I think the APY is quite high on that too, around 4% APY. So if we're getting 4% APY and $5 every month, why not?
Absolutely worth it. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, anything else as we're...
No, I've enjoyed the time. I've enjoyed talking to you, Justin. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you had a little bit of a cold today, but we powered through it. We thought we'd be all right, and I think it turned out pretty well.
Good.
We always strive for good audio here, that's for sure.
Yes, indeed.
All right, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks everyone else for listening. Stay tuned for future episodes. For more content between shows, follow Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on Facebook and X. Follow Justin Vacula on Instagram. Subscribe to Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on YouTube for daily content, including travel videos. Search Hurdy Gurdy Travel on subscribestar.com or become a channel member on YouTube to support my efforts starting at the $5 a month tip jar level. Receive special perks at higher subscriber levels, including private one-on-one conversations about card strategy, creative credit card spending, and asking podcast guests your questions. The website udio.com created the podcast intro and outro music. It's not me singing. AI features of the website Descript helped me edit and improve audio quality. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.
Travel at low cost with points and miles. Credit card rewards bring the smiles. Many adventures, tales to be told. Make and save money, the world will unfold. Fight the war on happiness, pick up the gold. Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast breaks the mold.